Hello everybody, I'm KC, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About. Today, let's talk about the latest episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Rock Solid Friendship, aka the episode where I finally get to talk about Maud Pie. Yeah, I, like everybody else, really like Maud. In this episode, Maud earns her Rocktorate at a pretty empty graduation ceremony. Man, how's that school stay funded? And is thinking about moving to Ponyville. Pinkie is of course ecstatic at the idea of her and her sister living in the same town, and does everything in her power to try and convince Maud to move to Ponyville. Although how they missed doing a parody verse of the Big Brother's Best Friend Forever song from a few seasons back with Pinkie's new BSFF acronym is beyond me. I can't be the only one who was waiting for that. Now, I thought this was going to be a pretty standard episode. Pinkie tries too hard, Maud reacts in her usual stoic way, stir in some funny scenes and a message about letting people make their own decisions, and we all go home. Until the writers threw in an ex-cult leading monkey wrench. This is where the episode immediately had my attention. When I reviewed To Where I'm Back Again, I set aside a section of it to talk about how, while I like Starlight's inclusion in the show, I felt she hadn't really gotten to become a natural part of the cast. Mostly playing a starring role, not a supporting one. This is what I was looking for. This isn't Starlight's story, but she's playing an important role in it. Not only does she recognize Maud as being the pony who pointed her to the perfect location to store the cutie mark she stole, priceless, but they even start to bond through casual conversation. And I really like how natural this feels. Even if they kind of have a history, I guess, it's really not mentioned from that point on. And they don't really share many interests, they just take time to enjoy the other's hobbies, and even see their perspectives on things they hadn't really taken interest in before they met. It's a great way to portray a new friendship that the show really hasn't looked at before. You could argue that that's very similar to the friendship the main six have, but I mean dedicating an entire episode to it. But seeing this small encounter evolve into two somewhat isolated characters becoming friends through each other's interests, including Starlight's fascination with kites. Was this brought up before? Huh. Okay then, these two bond on a more personal level without really having to express it, because that's not the kind of characters they are. They don't need to constantly talk about their feelings to prove that they're friends. In fact, both of them kind of actively avoid conversations like that because they're not really good at expressing those kinds of feelings. They just like being around each other, which was a very nice approach. We even get some more insight into Maud's character, especially her love for rocks and how she has had a past of being ridiculed for being so different. Which begs the question of how this affected her. Was she always this monotone and had trouble expressing herself, and that's why she felt so different? Or did she try to express her unusual hobbies and interest in rocks, and ponies dismissed her, causing her to shut herself out from others and not even try making friends anymore? I don't really have a concrete answer for this, but this episode, and the way Maud talks about friends in general, adds a lot more to her character, so it's just food for thought. And of course, Maud is a joy to watch as always. The added depth to her character is really just the icing on the cake. Maud on her own and how people react to her stoic nature is already hilarious. And Ingrid Nelson delivers yet another wonderful performance as this character, especially since she's given much more to work with than usual, but at the same time not losing Maud's monotone delivery. It's the best of both worlds, and it once again works in perfect contrast with her sugar high sister. So let's talk about Pinkie, because there's quite a bit to go over. First of all, who was in charge of animating her in this episode? Because it seems so much more exaggerated and expressive than usual, and for Pinkie, that's saying a lot. Pinkie was pretty over the top in this episode, even by Pinkie standards, but that's not really a bad thing. When Pinkie has an eccentric outing, she walks this very fine line between hilarious and annoying as hell. But here, being annoying is kind of the point. She is trying desperately to get Maud to move to Ponyville, and she goes a bit overboard with ways to convince Maud to stay, including semi-kidnapping Lyra to pretend to be a rock. But Bonbon ain't gonna let you steal her girlfriend, and it only gets worse once Starlight gets involved. On a side note, I know some people still have issues with how often they use the more popular of the background ponies, and there's quite a bit of that in this episode, but at this point, I wouldn't really call it fan pandering. Ever since Slice of Life, they are official characters with personalities of their own outside the fandom. Including the Moors shows that not only has the show not forgotten about these characters that they dedicated an entire episode to, but fits the small town vibe Ponyville should give off. Of course you'd bump into the same ponies a lot, and if some of them just happen to be very popular wool-eyed mares, so be it. Sorry for the detour, but that's bugged me for a while. Back to Pinkie. What I was trying to say before is that it's over the top, but it's funny and appropriate. For a minute during the time Starlight and Maud were trying to bond and Pinkie interfered trying to instantly make them friends, I was starting to get the sense that we've done this before, but then I remembered a line from earlier.
It's finding some pony who gets me.
I get you.
You're my sister. It's different.
That changes everything. Even if you have the best of intentions, and I'd say Pinkie does, when you're dealing with a sibling, it's easy to automatically assume that you know what's best, that you know what to do for them more than anyone else, and it's really easy to be pushy without even realizing it. Trust me, I'm an older sibling, I've made this mistake before, and I probably will in the future. It's the circle of life. It doesn't excuse Pinkie being so pushy just so Maud could move and they could be closer, but it explains it. By the way, Pinkie in footy pajamas with her mane pulled up? Adorable. But Maud just can't take it anymore and decides to live in Gallows Gorge instead. Gallows Gorge. Wasn't that the place where Rainbow Dash raised all of her potential pets? Isn't that like right outside of Ponyville? Well, okay, I guess it is a bit out of the way, but come on, Maud, have you ever heard of commuting? But anyway, Pinkie catches up to her, they get chased by some of those weird lizard things, which is pretty exciting to be honest, and Maud opens up to Pinkie about how she was feeling, and Pinkie learns her lesson. Maud's sticking around in Ponyville for now, yay, and sets up her new home in a gorgeous cave that she and Starlight discovered earlier in the episode.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes, but it looks a bit different than it did in that one Pokemon movie. Actually, in Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, that was the heart of the ancient Tree of Beginnings. And that spot may not be far from the Tree of Harmony. Maybe there's a connection between this long-forgotten cavern and the Tree of Harmony. Probably not, but why not end this review on a baseless fan theory? Overall, Rock Solid Friendship is a rock-solid entry in the series. At this point, you really can't go wrong with Pinkie and Maud as the focus. Even if it's an average episode, it's always going to have entertainment value. Plus, throwing Starlight into the mix in a supporting role, something I've been asking for a while, just made it even better. The characterization is relatable and well done, the animation is very expressive and vibrant where it needs to be, this approach to a friendship is a fresh one for the show, and they handle it excellently, and it's nice to know that Maud will be sticking around for hopefully more episodes or even more one-off appearances. But the most important thing to remember is that next time we get to cover a Fluttershy focused episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.